Hello everyone, my name is SwingPoynt and welcome to Resident Evil Resistance. This is the multiplayer game bundled with Resident Evil 3. And happy PlayStation 5 launch day. I don't have a PS5 yet, but I'm working on it. But today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Tyrone. And as a further bonus, it's going to be one of those episodes where we kind of get into the math, because I know how much you guys love those ones and I know you guys missed some of them. So we're going to talk about Tyrone here and something special that just Tyrone can do. So with Tyrone here, we're going to make him like a super core Tyrone, as some of you like to call him, or an immortal Tyrone, meaning that you're not going to take him down if you're using a bioweapon. You're just not. Doesn't matter. It could be Nemi with extermination. It could be Mr. X hitting you in a corner. You're not going down. You're basically invulnerable. Okay? And we're going to talk about how that works. Okay? And why we do what we do. So let's start from the top down with the skills. And then I'll show you what it looks like in a match that we recorded on twitch.tv/SwingPoynt. If you ever want to join those streams, the link is in the description. We stream just about every single day. I'd love to see you guys there. So let's start with this first skill here called Safeguard. Out of the 3 fevers here, this is the one that reduces damage the most. This will reduce damage taken by 80%. That's a lot. So when you consider that we're just trying to stay alive for a long time, it easily beats out Lifeline and Rapid Response. For his personal skill here, we're going to use Barge. That way Tyrone still has the ability to take down doors in one hit. That's really crucial in case you run up against a door Spencer. Now, here is where we're going to go back away from Tyrone, because Tyrone's been like a pretty strong part of the meta for a while, especially with all these creature builds that are coming out. But we're going to flip back to First Responder here. And the reason why we're flipping back to First Responder is due to our equipment that we're going to be using. So First Responder makes it easier to help teammates if they are trapped or defeated, meaning that it just goes faster. So if he revives people, it's gonna be much faster than a typical revive. So not quite Dr. Tyrone speed, but fast enough where you're gonna be like, yeah, this is pretty cool. Now, here's where everything changes. Usually, I would say let's go elusive, because bites take off 15 seconds. If you're running elusive, you can soft lock creatures. If you're running second wind, you can pick yourself back up. But we're gonna ignore all of that, and we're gonna go to defensive. Defensive reduces damage received from creatures and bioweapons. And I believe that's including the D field, because I ate an entire D field once on accident and it was awesome. But what does defensive do? Defensive reduces the amount of damage by 25%. And keep in mind, we always remember that skills kick in before anything else does in the game, before equipment, before yellow herbs, before any other in-game effects. Skills always kick in first. Meaning, let's talk about 25% here. Let's start getting into the math. So typically, a swipe from a zombie is 120 damage to the survivor. With Tyrone here, that means he's only going to take 90. And that's just the beginning of all of it. And something to keep in mind here is when you are taking less damage, you are also receiving less infection from that damage, and you're also feeding less energy to the mastermind if they have energy leech on their creatures. Taking less damage is a really big deal for several reasons. But now let's go ahead and talk about some other numbers that are affected just by defensive here, and you'll start to see how this all adds up in a really cool way. So let's take a bite. You're going to take anything and you're going to multiply it by 0.75. So you're going to take a bite. That's 350 times 0.75. Now suddenly bites are only 262 damage instead of 350. Let's talk Nemi here. When he hits you with extermination, that's usually 1800 damage on a direct hit. Well, instead, it's only going to be 1350. Tyrone has 1400 health base, so Tyrone can take a hit directly from the strongest freaking thing in the game just because of defensive, and we're going to make it even better. So let's move on to, actually, you know what, one more before we move on. One that's really common is Mr. X when he's buffed up with his tracking. So you're going to be taking 20% more damage, right, due to tracking. So 360 is usually what that is. So 360 times 0.75. Now you're only taking 270 per swipe out of a hook punch from Mr. X. But now let's get into why this gets really, really, really strong. And it's all about the equipment. And it's not the vests. People think, oh, thick Tyrone, I'm just going to go ahead and throw a bunch of freaking health on him and then he can just take a lot of hits. No, we can think better than that, and I will show you how we think better than that. So, Bulletproof Vest 3 and 2. What that will do is it'll increase Tyrone's health by 21% and 15% for a total of 36, meaning you take 1400 times 1.36, and ultimately Tyrone ends up with 1904 health. Okay, that's fine. It's cool. It puts you up at a much higher threshold and it gives you way more ability to take a lot more damage. But that's not where this gets really cool. It's these other two pieces of equipment that makes it phenomenal. Okay, first piece here is going to be AED device. This slightly increases the speed at which you revive your teammates, and it increases the effect that healing items have on your character. Okay, and then we also have steroids here. This moderately increases the effect buffing and healing items have on your character. So you might have saw there that there were two things that were the same on AED device and steroids here, and that's how much the healing items affect your character. So typically what a green herb does is it heals you for 50% of your max health. So in Tyrone's case, what would that be? Let's bust out the old handy dandy calculator here, and then 1904, that would mean that a green herb is going to heal him for 952 health. But when we're running these two things, that 952 turns into 1333. So it's like a 40% increase on how much you're getting out of your herbs. Now, why does that matter? Well, let's talk a little bit more about steroids here. Steroids makes it so that a yellow herb is going to be more effective. So typically a yellow herb increases the amount of damage you do by 30%, and it decreases the amount of damage you take by 30%. Okay? With steroids on, it's going to take that 30 and turn it into a 37. Okay, so let's start talking about how this gets really cool here. So, you know how I was giving you numbers before about defensive? Well, let's talk about where the numbers are now when you take a yellow herb. Okay? So, if Tyrone is taking a hit from a zombie, usually that's 120 damage. Well, now it's down to 90 because of defensive, right? And skills always kick in first, so that's going to be our base. So our base is 90. Well, let's take 90 and then multiply that by 0.63. And suddenly, Tyrone's only taking 56 damage. No, 57. Only 57 damage from a zombie swipe. And now to put that in perspective here, if you have 1904 health, you would have to get swiped by a zombie 33 times, and actually 34 times to go down. Imagine that. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. You're only at 9 right now. And you got to get all the way up to 34, okay? Now, let's move that on to something that it's going to mean a little bit more, because whatever, the creature's not going to get you that much. But what about Mr. X? So Mr. X, let's say he's hitting you full hog for 360. Swipe, swipe, swipe. Usually you'll knock somebody down pretty quickly with that, right? But now we're going to take that 360, multiply it by 0.75, and that's going to be 270. Then we're going to go ahead and multiply that by 0.67. No, 0.63, excuse me. And now Tyrone's only taking 170 damage per hit. Now, you might be like, well, it's still a decent amount of damage, but it's not, and I will tell you why. So 170 damage here. If he has 1904 health, and you divide that by 170, it's going to take 11 swipes, or over 11. It's going to take 12 swipes. It's 11.2. It's going to take 12 swipes for Mr. X for him to down you. Now, you might be like, well, if he's getting you in a corner, 12's not that big a deal. But it is. And I will show you in the match that we do today, because what happens with all these bioweapons, Nemi does the same thing with his jab punch. Frickin' Mr. X does it with his hook punch. You can beat the crap out of a survivor and you can stun lock him, right? But what happens every single time when you try doing that is it runs out. The stun lock runs out. You can try it yourself. Get your butt beat by one of those two bioweapons. After like 3 or 4 hits, you can, for some reason, recover and just walk out of it for a little bit. He can keep hitting you, but you get that opportunity to use a green herb. Or you can use whatever skill you want, but you get to use a green herb and keep running. Now, he might find you again and start stun locking you again after you recover for a little bit. You get a couple of seconds of recovery, but that gives you time to get that green herb in, right? So if Mr. X, here's where the equipment comes in. If Mr. X is only hitting you for 170 damage, and let's say for whatever reason he really nails you, like, oh my god, you messed up and he gets that 5th hit on you. Well, let's take 170 times 5. That is 850 damage. Okay? Reason why that's cool is remember what I taught you about the equipment here. Suddenly, Tyrone is healing himself per green herb for 1,333 damage. You could mess up and take 6 or 7 hits, 8 hits. How many times can you get hit by 1,333 here? You could take over 7 hits, nearly 8 hits from Mr. X, and then your green herb's gonna wipe out the whole thing. And you're always gonna be able to recover after like 4, 5 at most. So you're gonna be running a net positive here with Tyrone, meaning he can have you in a corner for the whole minute and you just keep chomping on herbs. Mr. X is not gonna take you down. Furthermore, we haven't even talked about Safeguard. We haven't even talked about it. Haven't even talked about it. So, let's make it more crazy. Safeguard's gonna last for 15 seconds after you use it. And if Mr. X is only hitting you for 170 damage, but then suddenly Safeguard kicks in, well, Mr. X, with all his umbrella billion-dollar might, is only going to be hitting Tyrone for 34 damage if he's got a yellow herb on and he's running defensive. So all you gotta do is eat a yellow herb. That's it. And now you're only taking 34 damage from Mr. X. 34. Chat. 34 damage. That's it. You know what? Let's make to make it really funny. How much damage do you think you're going to take from a zombie swipe? Huh? You are going to be taking 11 damage from a zombie swipe. 11. Mosquito bites hurt worse than that, okay? And now let's talk about the grand poobah of all of this, Extermination Nemi. So 1,800 damage from Nemi, right? Well, then suddenly, Nemi's only going to be able to hit you for that 1,350 because of defensive, right? And then he's only going to be able to hit you for 850 because you're a yellow herb. Again, this is direct hit Nemi for 1,800 damage. And then, if you throw Safeguard on, a direct hit from Nemesis is only going to damage Tyrone for 170 damage. You would have to get hit by 8 direct hits from Nemesis's rocket to down Tyrone if he's running full hog here, or, you know, full cow. 8 of them. This is ridiculous. It's so hard to take Tyrone down. So what you play him as is this character who gets in the way, who disrupts the bioweapon, who gets in the head of the mastermind. Imagine the strongest thing that the mastermind has, their bioweapon, suddenly is useless. Because even if it takes down everybody else, you're not gonna take down Tyrone. And since Tyrone can heal so quickly, you know what he's gonna do? He's just gonna heal everybody, even if he downs everyone. Poof, big rocket, everyone's down except Tyrone. Well, then after Nemi's like and like recovering, you have yourself plenty of time to start picking people up because you have first responder. Even if Nikolai is running modified gear and all his bullcrap, he's not gonna have enough time because it takes too long for Nemesis to get out of his ending animation. That gives you plenty of time to at least pick up Valerie, and then you can just sit there and ruin Nikolai's day or ruin Daniel's day. I don't think this is the absolute most meta way to play Tyrone, but it sure is fun. And if you want to mix it up a little bit, I encourage you to try this out. So what we're going to do now, I hope I hyped you up about this because I'm hyped up about it. It's like all I've been playing because it's so fun. And you're a cow. That's some thick beef. So now I'm going to show you what it looks like in a match that we did on twitch.tv/SwingPoynt. Links in the description if you want to see those matches over there. I'd love to have you guys over there. We stream just about every single day. But without further introduction, here is Super Core Tyrone, Immortal Tyrone, whatever you want to call him. Is it just me, or does it feel like you can take about 3 hits from a bioweapon like Mr. X or
but the parts you have, I do not think they are good enough.
like a Mr. X or
Think carefully and work together.
Nemi before you can just not be stun locked?
If that was something you
Thought that didn't work by oh crap, didn't work by blocking.
This really is not a
Chat's
very
telling me it
efficient
does.
way of ending your life. But orders are orders.
Okay, I'm using a knife. I forgot. Nice scream. Do it to me.
Fun for me, at least.
Why were their legs not breaking?
Sometimes it's easiest just to do things yourself. You understand me. That could be a key.
Let's roll, let's roll, let's roll, let's roll, let's roll, let's roll. What's your chair? I have a Herman Miller in body.
To be so successful so soon. Bravo! Let us see how much further you can go.
There's gotta be something useful here.
Oh, I'm here for Mr. X to just slam on me.
Damn rat.
See, like,
No pain.
that's a point I've tried to make about Limit Break Sam, is that he doesn't really deal with what I just had to go through there with Tyrone. Somebody gonna help? Oh, I guess that works, Valerie. Very poisony. Wait, is this enhanced? It's enhancing.
Take a security card, and you can go
Okay.
and see what I have prepared for you next. Hey, I just saw your picture on the side of a milk carton. Oh, no, my mistake. No one give a fuck you're missing.
Valerie's clearing on the other side of the map.
Sometimes it's easiest just to do things
Okay,
yourself.
nothing in here.
You understand me. Oui?
Oh, that's gonna be so worth it, though.
Feeling myself.
Feeling myself. This is bad. This is bad.
Daniel. Why, thank you, Daniel. It was most excellently played. The cogs turn. The bars of the cage fall into place. You are close to the point of no return.
Oh, that was close.
The infection's red. Back on top.
A fittingly brutal weapon for a brutal game.
I
They
might
don't
be
look so scared.
healing spray deployed.
Gotta fix some wounds. Cool.
I don't find it.
many have you left? More food for the undead in this area. We kept them hungry for you, in case you got this far.
I think I'm getting in trouble here.
Guess infection was inevitable. Let's get out of here before it gets worse.
Perfect machine for this endeavor.
I might actually be nearly poisoned to death.
It says I'm on DVD. Oh no.
Hey, bon. This day is more interesting than I expected.
Oh my god. I feel like I just gotta cry after that one.
Got that powered up field.
I had a feeling it might work. Oh my god.
This really is not a very efficient way of ending your life. But orders are orders.
I'm a little under the whip.
Oh my god. That was so funny.
Sometimes it's easiest just to do things yourself.
I just kick him and get out of there. Enhance me.
Fucking luck, my friend. Still so far to go. Watch where you step.
Patching up.
How are you all doing? Everyone happy?
They can't kill him. There you go.
Using a greener.
Mine, mine, mine. Fuck you all.
Super core Tyrone. You know what's that greatly reduces the damage taken?
Here's Trenchy.
I wonder if it's like super great on do it to me.
Unexpected.
Something got me. Group up for healing.
Oh no! even use a green herb yet. There we go. Now. Wait, she just get 15 on him? Did she just kill him? She just bio-jill him? Oh, he's got bio-jilled. Oh, this poor guy.
I might be able to see something.
This really is not a very efficient way of ending your life.
That was amazing work, team. We got out. We're free.
Did anybody clip when I was just getting beat up in the corner?
The Reaper's scythe called for you and you resisted. Good for you. Enjoy the air and run. It will not be long before I catch you again.
Oh, God. That was the funniest thing I've seen in a while. I had a feeling it might work, and it did. So this was Thick Tyrone. This was Immortal Tyrone. This is whatever you want to call him, Tyrone. Just your thick boy, big beef. Hope you liked it. I actually have a couple other videos I want to post. I know that, you know, Resistance is no longer getting updates, but there's still things to talk about with the game. So if you guys want to keep seeing that, let me know. Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys thought of this. I thought this was so fun. I loved playing Tyrone this way. Now that part of what I've been struggling with is I feel like we have established what's really good in this game. Now I'm trying to figure out some builds that are just really fun in this game. And if you guys want to see more of that, let me know. So thank you guys for being here. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you so much. And then I'll see you in the next video that we do around here.